What is the role of a husband and wife in a Christian marriage? The concept of Christian marriage is unclear to many people. It was unclear to me too because of how it was explained to me by many Christian people. The explanation of a wife's role felt to me like slavery or inferiority, and the explanation of a husband's role felt like a heavy burden. This made me wonder, why would God make a woman feel inferior, and why would God put so much responsibility on a man? So I did the research on Christian marriage and found out that many Christians interpret a wife's and a husband's role by societal and cultural standards. In this video, I will talk about what Christian marriage means and the role of a man and a woman in a Christian marriage. Hi everyone, this is Taking Steps with Marian. Hope you are good. If you are not, come on, smile. I am a life coach and relationship counselor. Here is where you learn to take the necessary steps to improve your life. Thanks to all my subscribers and viewers. I really appreciate your support. Keep supporting, okay? The misinterpretation of Christian marriage roles is causing many divorces. In some societies, young adults fear getting married because they feel the role they will play will make them unhappy. Many women feel inferior in their marriages because their role limits them from becoming all they can be. Many men feel pressured because the sole responsibility to take care of their family financially is draining them. Some men and women are losing themselves in their marriage. I am here to tell you that the role of a husband and a wife in a Christian marriage is intended to make things easier and better for us. Let's look into it. What is Christian marriage? A Christian marriage is a covenant relationship between a man and a woman before God. And a covenant is a strong, solemn agreement between two people that involves promises, privileges, commitments, and responsibilities. When God created the first man, Adam, He looked at him and said, "It is not good for man to be alone, so I will create a helper suitable for him." Then God created Eve, a woman, to be Adam, the man's suitable helper. After creating Eve, the marriage covenant took place. In Genesis chapter 2, verse 24, God said, "Therefore, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." Jesus reminds us again in Matthew chapter 19, verse 4 to 6, that marriage is ordained and instituted by God. Jesus said, "At the beginning, the Creator made them male and female and said, 'For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh.' So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate." This means that when a Christian goes to the church altar to make vows to the lady or the guy they choose to marry, they are making a covenant with that lady or guy before God to be together for better or for worse until death do them part. Breaking vows is unacceptable to God because in Numbers chapter 30 verse 2, we are told that if a man makes a vow to the Lord or swears an oath to bind himself by some agreement, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. Meaning, if you vow to God to be with your husband or wife for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, you can't break your promises. Also, we are told in Proverbs chapter 20 verse 25 that we should not trap ourselves by making a rash promise to God and begin to reflect only after making the promise. So before you say I do at the church altar, be sure you are ready for a lifetime commitment. You may say, what if my spouse is abusive, disrespectful, or cheats on me? Do I stay in the marriage because I made vows? It depends. I will talk about why people divorce in another video. Today, I will focus on a husband and a wife's role in a Christian marriage. Before I dig deep into this, I want you to know that I'm an advocate for both women and men. My goal for doing this is for married couples to live in love, peace, and harmony. I encourage you to watch this video until the end to get a full understanding of this message. First, I will explain the wife's role and then the husband's role. You will find Christian marriage roles in the book of Ephesians chapter 5, verses 22 to 25 in the Bible. In these verses, the Apostle Paul was advising married couples in Ephesus. The two key words I would like you to focus on while I read is submit and head. Let's look at what Paul says. Wives, submit yourselves unto your husbands as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. Understanding the word submit in Greek language is very important because these verses were originally written in Greek language. Submit in Greek is hupotasso. Translated in English, it means to arrange under, or to get under a lift, or to yield to advice, or to obey. Greek words have different meanings based on their context, just like in any other language. For example, if a company says submit your application, it means to give or offer something for the company to decide whether or not you are the candidate they are looking for. Submit your application is a transaction because you are offering your skills and experiences to get something in return. For instance, offering your skill to get a salary or a position. Another example. If someone tells you submit to God, it means humble yourself before God, obey God, trust God, and follow His laws. God is omnipotent, He is our creator, He has total control over us. So if you choose to submit to God, you are surrendering your all to Him by giving up your personal views, doing what God says you should do, and trusting God to guide and lead you in everything. Submit your application is not the same as submitting to God. So when Paul instructs wives to submit themselves unto their husbands as unto the Lord, he is not speaking in the sense of total surrender as unto the Lord. Paul is speaking in the sense of yielding to advice and arranging under. He is saying a wife's role is to arrange under or to get under and lift her husband as she will unto the Lord. Let me prove this to you. The Apostle Paul used the word submit in many of the letters he wrote to advise Christians on different kinds of relationships. He used the word submit in the context of yielding to advice, arranging under, and obedience. It was not about total control over someone. In 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verses 15 to 16, Paul wrote this letter to Christians in Corinth. You know that Stephanas and his household were the first of the harvest of believers in Greece, and they are spending their lives in service to God's people. I urge you, brothers and sisters, to submit to them and others like them who serve with such devotion. When Paul calls on the Corinthians to submit to Stephanas, his household, and to others like him, it is clear he is not talking about hierarchy. Paul is urging them to arrange under by cooperating and respecting Stephanas, his household, and to others like him who are spending their lives in service to them. In Hebrews chapter 13, verse 17, Paul wrote this to the Hebrews. Obey those who rule over you and be submissive, for they watch out for your souls, as those who must give account. Let them do so with joy and not with grief, for that will be unprofitable to you. In this verse, Paul was advising the Hebrews to obey their leaders, to arrange under them, and for them to see the benefits of what their leaders are doing for them. So when Paul instructs wives to submit themselves unto their husbands as unto the Lord, he is talking about structure and partnership in marriage. He is not talking about women being inferior or doing exactly as their husband says, as some people make it seem. He was talking about getting under and lifting up your husband, same as Christians get under Jesus Christ and lift him up by using the gifts and talents God placed in us to bring people into God's kingdom. God gave all of us gifts, talents, and callings for us to benefit from each other. Marriage should not stop us from using and developing our gifts and talents or stop us from doing what God called us to do. Rather, marriage was set up by God to enhance what He has placed in all of us. When two become one, they bear more fruits. They win together. To understand why wives are instructed to arrange under or to get under and lift their husbands, let's move on to the husband's role. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. In these verses, it is clear that a husband's role is the head of his wife. It is also clear that husbands should love their wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. Note that Paul is using Jesus and the church as an illustration to describe what headship means. He is not saying the husband has the same power and authority as Jesus or assumes the position of Jesus Christ. Rather, Paul is saying a husband's role as the head is to treat and love his wife as Jesus Christ would. How does Jesus treat us, love us, and why do we subject to him? Jesus' love for us is unconditional. He loves us despite our faults. He willingly gave himself up by dying on the cross to free us from sin. He is our Savior. The way Jesus treated people here on earth was amazing. When people were hungry, he fed them. Jesus provides. Jesus did not force his will on others. He said in John chapter 8 verse 12, I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Jesus is saying, this is what you get if you choose to follow me. Jesus cares about us, and he corrects in love. When the Pharisees wanted to stone the woman adulterer to death, Jesus came to the woman's rescue. He said, "He who is without sin among you, let him throw a stone at her." And then he told the woman to go and sin no more. Jesus is very humble in spirit. Even in leadership, he cared for those under him. I can go on, but I will stop here. These are the reasons why we subject to Jesus, because his love for us is pure. A husband's role as the head is to lead, treat, and love his wife as Jesus Christ would. Husbands, loving your wife as Jesus Christ would is a huge responsibility. That is why wives are instructed to subject to their husbands as they would unto Christ. Having a wife who gets under and lifts you up is an excellent deal. And ladies, being subject to a husband who treats and loves you like Jesus is an excellent deal too. Each one of us has a gift, a talent, some form of education, and unique experiences. Our marriage roles should not stop us from becoming all that we can be. God has put gifts and talents in all of us to multiply them and not to suppress them. For example, if a husband is a talented cook and a wife is good at managing money, it is okay for the husband to cook for his family and for his wife to manage their finances. This does not mean that one person is above the other. This does not mean because the wife is managing their finances, she has assumed the position or the role of her husband. Headship does not mean totally dependent on your husband for everything. It means your husband's role is to lead, love, and treat you as Christ would. Some husbands are suffering under the word headship because some wives put a lot of pressure on their husbands to be the head by providing for all their needs by all means. Your husband can provide some of your needs, but not all of them, because he is human. God and Jesus are the only ones who can provide all our needs. Paul's message in Ephesians chapter 5 is about partnership, structure, care, love, responsibility, and togetherness in marriage. If we apply these principles in our Christian marriages, husbands and wives will win together. Remember that love and respect are very vital in any kind of relationship. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not done so already. And if you are new here, support this channel by subscribing too. Click on this red button below this video and hit the bell next to the subscription to get a notification anytime I post a new video. Like, comment down below to share your thoughts on this topic as well. I want us to be a family right here on YouTube. See you soon. Bye.